It's mostly you usually.
Right. This is all mostly me usually.
It's always about you.
Creating Connections podcast, episode number 72. I'm Gittimer Certified Advisor, Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Certified Personality Trainer, Vicki Musney.
And today we get to speak to our really good friend, Mike Petritis. He's the founder of Eliix.marketing out of Chicago. And Mike has been a good friend of ours for a little while now. And if you want to know the latest happenings in social media, what is Instagram stories all about? What the heck is Snapchat? What's a filter? Where should I post my business?
You need a filter.
I do need a filter. And if you don't have a filter, or if you do, keep listening. More from Mike, our social media guru, up next.
That was nice and easy.
What are you talking about? This also speaks to a much bigger issue.
Providing personal solutions through understanding people. This is the Creating Connections podcast with Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney.
Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor.
And Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney.
Today we are talking to social media guru Mike Petritis. Mike, did I say your last name correct? Did I get your last name pronounced right?
You're one of probably a handful, less than half a dozen of people who actually get it right. Because most people get hepatitis with a P, and I'm just like, okay, fine, whatever.
No, we go through great lengths to make sure that we pronounce last names properly on this show.
I appreciate it. I totally appreciate it.
As well.
And today, Mike's going to be talking about how to create connections socially. And not just make a connection, but how to make a lasting connection, that lasting impression that will strengthen the connection. That's what we're all about here, creating connections. So,
yeah, definitely.
Mike, give us a little bit of your background in regards to social media with Eliix.marketing.
So Eliix.marketing is my social media branding and digital marketing firm based outside of Chicago. We currently work with about 40 different brands in 10 different states, from organic farmers to restaurants to law firms and to, of course, mobile DJs. I've been a DJ for 9 years, first and foremost. So I would say probably 60% of our actual clients are mobile DJs, and we talk to a lot. And we work with trying to hone their brand and make sure that they present themselves in the best way possible on social. We do graphic design and web design, but first and foremost, we manage social media accounts for small businesses all across the country.
Awesome.
And that's why I wanted to have you on today, because I know that you do a lot of things, and it's more than what we can talk about in just one episode. So given that our theme is creating connections, I really want to zero in on the social media aspects, because even that is still huge. There are so many different platforms. And I know for me personally, I still live primarily in Facebook because that's where I'm comfortable. That's where I've been the last 9 years. But I know that there are other ones out there. What, in your opinion, and given the businesses that you work with, particularly those in the events industry, what other platforms we really need to be focused on?
So first and foremost, I really always want to emphasize that social media in general, especially in the entertainment industry, people are always kind of sort of dead set on the idea of constantly making a sale, constantly getting leads and bookings, et cetera, which is completely fine and completely reasonable. And that's nothing wrong. I mean, you have to have bookings to make money. But the thing is that social media is first and foremost social. You're there to make connections and make sales. Social media does not make sales. It makes sales easier. It's part of a process that you would actually send people through a sales funnel.
Wait, could you say that again? That was deep. I don't want anyone to miss that.
Okay, yeah, no. I mean, social media does not make sales. It makes sales easier. You utilize it as a part of your sales funnel to send people down through a system that you can set up to establish more sales and do them easier. I always give the example, if you have two brides in front, one who has been following you on social media for 6 months, and the other one, literally you cold call today and you're just going back and forth with the basics like date, time, how much are you thing. The woman who has followed you on social media for 3 to 6 months or whatever has seen the value, hopefully, if you do it correctly, has seen your value and what you have to bring to the table to establish your price, and she will now further understand why you charge so much. If you put the same contract in front of them, let's say it's $3,000, $5,000, whatever it may be, arbitrary number. The one who's followed you on social media for that 3 to 6 months is definitely going to be far more receptive to that price than someone you cold called this morning. She's going to freak out and be like, well, this is way out of my budget. Why do I need to pay for this? Why do I need to pay this much for a DJ when this guy says I was $300 for 6 hours or something crazy like that? I found him on Craigslist or something. So social media is something that, and I always quote Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk's amazing. And I know Allison in Mitch's office is a huge fan of him as well. He always uses the metaphor of boxing. Mm-hmm. You don't walk into a ring and throw a right hook and expect to win. You always want to jab your opponent down and give value, give education, entertainment to your followers first, so that when you go and ask for the sale, it's that much easier. And I mean, it's the same with DJs. They always go in, and I still, till this very day, DJs constantly posting, hey, come get free uplighting, call now and get 10% off your booking, or a free photo booth, whatever it may be. And they're just going about it the completely wrong way. And the thing is, social media, pulling it back into creating connection things, social media is a great opportunity for you through not only Facebook, but Snapchat, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it may be, to go and find people, make friends with them, and don't go into the whole conversation thinking that you're going to go ahead and close the deal. Think of it as, I want to make friends with them and help them as much as possible book their wedding and make sure that it's the ultimate wedding and everything that they dreamed of and more. And then consequentially, they will book you because you were the one who helped them and you genuinely put in an effort. You provided value to them to go and that it happened exactly the way they wanted it.
Did you write script for him, Mitch, before
no.
we
But
okay, just checking.
What I love about what Mike just stated was the fact about, the two different bride scenario that you just put out there, right? Mm-hmm. With one who's followed you on social media for 3 to 6 months and one that hasn't. That falls totally into, Sales for Event Pros, my book, and the process, which was the first 2 questions. The first 2 questions in any sales meeting is, how did you hear about us? And what do you know about us as a company? So, at that point, if you ask those questions, I heard about you on social media. Oh my gosh, I've been following you for the last 3 to 6 months. Now you got a raving fan versus I know nothing.
Exactly.
So you know how better to handle that when pushed for price or whatever the case may be. So absolutely. Now, what are some of the things specifically that you should be posting about, Mike?
Okay, so when it comes to the content strategy, you always have to remember, what are people doing on that platform? And by platform, I mean Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Google+.
And it goes back to my first question you didn't really answer, so maybe you can hear.
Wow.
Everything you said was fantastic.
Just hit the host. Or hit the guest. It's just, no.
But
no, it's completely fine.
So talk to the differences of each one, and then why we should be in certain places or what we should be looking for when we're there.
No, absolutely. And I think, it's a fair question that you posed, but also at the same time, I wanted to make sure that I established why you need to be on social media and the context.
No, that was excellent.
Just because the thing is, now what I'm about to say is, like, when you're on Facebook, Facebook is probably the most generic. It's like the Walmart of social media, not necessarily in the fact that it's cheap, but because it's the most generic and most well-known. And I think it's a very much a word platform where you can do whatever you want on there. And as long as you speak to people on a one-on-one level, like, it's pretty generic. You don't have to do anything specific. But when it comes to like Snapchat or Instagram, with Snapchat, it's such a raw, organic platform that there's no editing. Everything's shot in real time unless you post a memory, but I'm not a huge fan of those necessarily, what everyone else says in my industry. The thing is, it's very much sort of a real-time thing. So if you're on Snapchat and you're a DJ, you're at an event right now, go show the behind-the-scenes stuff. Show this you setting up and how much work is going into the whole event, and show people partying and having a fun time. On Snapchat, there's a huge demographic of people who sit at home on a Friday or Saturday night because they had no plans, and now they're trolling through Instagram. Snapchat stories.
All of them, but yes.
and they're going through all of them, and they're having FOMO, fear of missing out, and they're like, oh my God, they're looking like they're having a great time. This DJ did a fantastic job. Instagram. An amazing platform. It was originally intended to be very much an artful platform. It was a way to bring professional photography to the average consumer. They made it easy for you to take your really crappy camera, take an amazing photo or a well-framed photo, put a filter on it so it looks amazing, and then go and post it and share it with the world. And so, Instagram is very much an edited platform. Don't plan on posting photos live in an event because it won't do you any justice. You want to make sure that the best content possible makes it to your Instagram store or your Instagram feed. Your Instagram story, which just launched very recently, is obviously a direct competitor to Snapchat, but I am not in that camp of people who say Snapchat's now dead. Snapchat is way too huge to die. It's not going to happen. There's a place for both of them. What's very interesting is with Instagram stories, they're allowing you to upload content that you've already did. So you can go on Photoshop or edit a video, upload it to your phone, and then upload directly to your Instagram story. So now you suddenly have an edited photo, that high-end, well-polished piece of content that can go in your story now. And that's something that I think is very interesting and very important to make sure you see the difference between the two when it's to Snapchat and Instagram stories.
Well, and especially for photographers and
definitely
videographers and people that are on that side of things in the event industry. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Instagram for editing and then Snapchat for real time?
Absolutely. I think Snapchat is something that is way too huge to ignore. It's very conversational. It's a very easy way to talk to people one-on-one and guarantee they're viewing your content. It's not necessarily easy to get a following on there because there's no sort of discovery feature, which I find very interesting. But the thing is, Instagram is trying to go now and almost gamify their system. Because if you use Instagram and you live under a rock, you've noticed that the stories is the first thing you see at the top of your screen. It's the first 5 photos. It's the five most recent photos. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is now suddenly they're incentivizing people who post more often to go stories more often and post more often than they might on Snapchat, because now you want to constantly stay at the front of that feed. Eventually, I'm sure there'll be an algorithm in place for that specific section that will change that up based on what you view most. Or they might change that whole system altogether, because I'm not a huge fan of it, because I want to view as many stories as possible, and scrolling sideways to find that one little icon is a little bit difficult for me. But I think it's really, really interesting that they did that and they incentivize that. What I find really interesting as well is that as an advertising platform, very sure it's going to happen where we could do sponsored stories on Instagram and you could push those to the top. And that would be something that's really cool. And that would be almost the Instagram version of a canvas on Facebook, which if you haven't seen those, they're not used that often. It's basically a HTML5 landing page that's within Facebook that's designed to share whatever your content may be. And it looks completely different than any other ad, which is really cool, but I'm surprised it's not used that often. That aside, Instagram is fantastic for stuff like that. With LinkedIn, it's very, very professional. In my opinion, I don't think enough people pay attention on LinkedIn. I don't think it's as viewed as often. A lot of people just go and rehash their blogs on there. They don't write any content individually for that. And that's something that's really, really important to remember, is that someone who's on LinkedIn is very different than the user who's on Facebook right now or on Instagram or whatever. And so first things first, you want to make sure that you're posting original content on every single channel. You don't want to share across all these different things. I mean, you can, if there's something that you really, really want to push, like for Eliix, we have a blog that we post maybe a couple times a week. We'll try to share that on every single platform just to make sure that it gets the views that we need. But when it comes to trying to provide value and get people to follow you on other platforms, if they're not following you on LinkedIn and all you're doing is posting the same sort of content that's already on your Facebook, there's no reason why I should follow you on LinkedIn if I'm already following you on Facebook. Provide value. Give me a reason to follow you on LinkedIn, and give me a reason to want to converse with you, because you're going out of your way and you're so much value, so much information over here that I follow you on there as well. I mean, once you get on all those different platforms, suddenly you're top of mind because you're on all these different things, and it blows people up because no one wants to put in the work to get all this content written and make sure that people are noticing you.
So that's when people either need to decide, I better get serious about creating content, or I better have someone like Mike's company to do that for them.
Here's the thing. I'm probably coming across as someone who's trying to push my own services. And by no means I'm not. I mean,
no, you're giving us helpful information. I think you're giving
the thing is, I will
to our viewers they can use.
Yeah, no, I mean, I will gladly take any businesses, but the thing is, at the end of the day, you need to really take your content seriously, and you can't just do one blog a week or one post a week on whatever. I mean, we're working with, I think we manage full time around a dozen different corporate accounts for small businesses. I mean, we have a law firm, we have a food manufacturer pudding company that we post, and we're doing upwards of 5 Instagram posts a week. We're doing a post every single day on Facebook. We're doing blog writings and all these different things. And we're making sure that people who follow us are getting the value. They're not just following us to have another person to follow or whatever it may be. I mean, we want to give them value. We want to give them content to engage with our brand and feel as though we're trying to go out of our way than just simply sell you a sort of product.
Okay, so I have another question then in creating content. And this is something that I see people struggle with the balance in that in the events industry, we have clients. Mm-hmm. So we have some content that is marketed toward, brides and grooms and, maybe their families that are friends are helping them make decisions. Mm-hmm. But I use, for example, my personal Facebook interactions is primarily for building my vendor-to-vendor relationships. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So can you speak to that at all? That's a very different audience, if you will. How do we wrestle with that? Because we all, in the event world, we're constantly needing those new contacts. And so the best way for us to get new actual leads is by healthy relationships with the people that we work at the events with.
Definitely. I mean, the thing is, it goes back to what I said before, is that there's a different sort of user, a different sort of follower on every single platform. So Facebook's pretty generic, so it's how you should. I would recommend that you keep Facebook very much B2C, business to consumer. When it comes to something like LinkedIn, that's definitely B2B. Keep your B2B content on there. Snapchat, I would try to keep it B2C as well, because you can't necessarily control who's following you on the platform. When you're trying to establish one-on-one relationships, there's definitely a difference between a personal and a business account on Facebook.
Oh, yes.
Keep your personal account personal. Do not make it very businessy. You can absolutely add other vendors, other photographers, florists, caterers, whatever. Add them on your personal account and engage with them. I mean, make them feel as though they're actually your friend, not just a business consultant or a business partner, whatever. I mean, add them.
And that's what I mean by I use that for those relationships.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the people I let into my personal page and how I interact with them through there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, your business, or your personal page, while you're sharing personal things and your family and your friends are seeing it, the fact that you've added your caterer from the event last weekend or your florist, whatever, now they suddenly feel as though they're more than just a business contact to you. They're suddenly now a friend. And that is so important, because the thing is, I feel so much more connected to you, and I feel so much more trust, or I have more trust in you because you trust me seeing your family photos, your chief photos, or your baby, or whatever it may be. Like, it's so much more than just
a puppy. Yes, no baby.
Yeah, but we have seen a lot of other stuff too.
Drinking.
Oh, it's water. I promise.
So
there's no ice.
Keep the personal, keep the business. And we talked about what platforms that would fall from business to consumer and what would fall from business to business. Mike, give us the name of your company again, please. How can people contact you?
So my company is Eliix.marketing, or ELIX.marketing. And you could literally just type that in and go straight to the website. There's no .com or anything at the end. And follow me personally on Snapchat at Mike.Petritis, Petris, or Facebook or Twitter, other fun stuff. It's all the same name. You can find me anywhere. Everything's pretty interconnected, so I'm easy to find.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you, Mike, so much for your insights here today. Again,
yes, thank you.
If you need a great
social media
guru, Mike is the guy. He's the man.
Thank you so much.
Go check him out. In the mail. that and $3 will get me some coffee. No. This is Creating Connections, episode number 72. I am Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney.
Want to know where we're going to be next? Very easy. Hop on creatingconnections.biz.
Thanks again for joining us, Mike. And thank you all for watching.
Thank you. See you guys later.
Thank you for listening to the Creating Connections podcast with Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney. For more information on providing personal solutions through understanding people better, visit creatingconnections.biz.